Alright, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change this. Previously I'd done some videos where I had put some drips and things into the scene. I think I'd rather go with more of a splashing effect. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to select domain 1, 2, and drip 1, 2, etc. And I'm just going to go ahead and delete those. And let's have another go at this. I'm going to go ahead and I will push the eyeball for the water back round and hide that. And then I think what we're going to do is I will add a mesh. I'll go ahead and I'll do a UV sphere or icosphere, whatever. I'm going to push 3 to look at this from a side view. Zoom in a little bit. I'm going to scale this up somewhat. I'm going to grab this and move it up on Z until it's basically kind of right into this rock that's above it. Let's look at it from a front view. So I'll push 1. Alright, looks like we're okay there. I think what I want is I want like some kind of effect where water is gushing down and maybe kind of hitting this and then dripping down onto this rock below and then finally hitting the floor. Something along those lines. So what I'll do is I'll hold shift and select the rock that it's adjacent to as well. And I will push G to grab, and I will select Y to move it on the Y-axis and just slide it back a little bit. And then I think from the front view, I will go ahead and, so I pushed 1 to get to the front view. I will push G to grab. I will slide it over on X a little bit so that hopefully it's just kind of doing something like that. And you know, I might even, to make things seem a little bit tighter, maybe I'll grab on Z as well and just nudge it down a bit. In fact, I almost like the idea of this point and this point almost meeting. So I think I'm going to do a G and an X one more time and move them over just a bit more. Not to get too putsy or too uptight about this, but let's just line this up the way I want. So I'm going to push G and Y again. Move it forward just a bit more. Yeah, I kind of like this idea. Alright, so with that done, let's go ahead and see about re-adding some of the physics that we need. So selecting just that sphere that I put in, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to retitle that. I'll just call it Splash. And we will go ahead and I will select the Physics tab. I will select Fluid to specify that this is fluid. I will have this be the flow. And then I will go ahead and tell it that I want it to be liquid. I'm going to also check initial velocity. And I'm just kind of looking at y. Well, this is the negative y. So I'm going to give it an initial velocity on minus y of, let's say, minus 5. And then on z, this is minus z, so I'm going to give it initial velocity of minus z. Let's say minus, just like 1 maybe. Alright, now that's all great. Just because we'll go ahead and apply material to it. I've got that drip material. That's just a combination of a transparent shader and a glass shader. Nothing too fancy. But now if I go ahead and push play, nothing's going to happen. And that's because I need to specify the boundaries of this. That's something we've covered previously. So let's go ahead and specify those boundaries. I'll shift A and I'll add a cube. And then I'm going to push S to scale it up and make this nice and large, because this has to basically define where the liquid is going to be active. I'll just push 3 to get it into a side view. I will push G to grab, move it up a little bit so that it's roughly placed where the floor is. Maybe we'll just move that back down a touch. But something like that should be just fine. And then what we'll go ahead and do is, well, we can, there we go. Now we can see through it. I could also go ahead and adjust wireframe here, I think under Object Properties, but I'm just going to roll with it for the moment. So now what I'll do is I will go back to my physics, and I will go ahead and also attach fluid to this, but in this case I'm going to say that this is the domain. Alright, and it turned the wireframe for now, but that's something that can come and go depending on where things are at. I am going to change it from gas to liquid. I think I'll take the resolution up. And okay, so the border collisions, I'm gonna turn off some of them. I'm gonna turn off the front collision, the right, the left. I'm gonna leave the top and bottom and back in place, I think, for now. And let's see, what else do we have here? I think for the moment, well, let me see, do I want to, I'm going to check mesh for now because I might come back to that and make some adjustments. But for the moment, I'm going to go ahead and push play, and we'll give it a minute to see what happens. Alright, so that's what we're getting right now. I'm going to just push 0 to get kind of more of the camera view. I think I'm kind of liking that. It's just a nice big splash that just kind of then rolls around. That's not too bad. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my water back and unhide it. Yeah, I think something like that's a lot more workable. I might play with it a little bit as far as the placement goes, but generally speaking, I think that's kind of what I'd want in the scene. That's a little bit more in line with what I was envisioning, rather than just that little slight drip that I had going on.